The Entrepreneur's Library, episode 130.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Library, the only book-centric podcast that reviews all the top-selling business books and shares authors' perspective firsthand. This is your resource to finding the next great book that will enable you to grow personally and professionally. Welcome your host, Wade Danielson.
Welcome back to the EL. Today we have Joe Schmieder, author of Innovation in the Family Business. Welcome, Joe, and thank you for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Library.
Thank you, Wade.
Will you take just a minute before we jump in or take a deep dive into your book and introduce yourself? Tell us just a little bit about you personally.
Sure. I am a family business advisor. I've been working with family businesses for over 35 years. I ran two family businesses as an executive, not a family member, for 25 years, and I've been consulting with family businesses for over the last 10 years.
Excellent. So thank you for sharing that. Now let's jump right into your book, Innovation in the Family Business, which was just made available for purchase back on December 2nd, 2014, so not that long ago. And Joe, we're going to move quickly, but we're here to cover the top questions that our listener/future reader would like to get answered. And the first one is, what was the inspiration behind writing Innovation in the Family Business?
Well, Wade, I was very interested in helping family businesses continue their firms for more than 1, 2, or 3 generations. So I worked on the book to help family members and executives like myself in the past who were interested in innovating in the family business and trying really to inspire those enterprising family members to focus more energy and resources on innovation and change throughout their family business instead of just relying on the status quo. So I really had this passion to make sure we can keep family businesses strong because they do generate the majority of the income and the jobs throughout our economy.
And Joe, we talked beforehand about how many books come out for, the business owner, the entrepreneur every single month. And so maybe you can give us a few differentiators. So what makes your book different from others regarding the same or similar topic?
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective that you just said. A couple years ago, Googled the word innovation, and thousands of books and articles came up. And then I Googled family business, and hundreds of books came up, not thousands, but hundreds. And then I Googled innovation in the family business or innovation and family business, and only a few articles, including some I did, came up. So that's when I realized that although there's a number of publications on innovation and family business separately, not combined. So the first differentiator is that we're combining innovation and the family business into one book. The books that are available on the topic are mainly academic research manuals. So what I've done here with this book is combine the research material with about 50 family business stories to help describe the many different areas where family firms have been able to effectively use innovation to grow the value of their business and to effectively transition or pass it on to the next generation. So the book is different in that it really is a combination of research and hands-on practical examples of how family businesses have effectively used innovation in their firms.
So, Joe, how do you suggest the reader engage with your book? Is this one they can jump in, jump out, grab information as needed, or did you really design it to be read from front to back?
It's definitely a jump in, jump out. The chapters are set up so that you can either dive into a chapter like on funding innovation, or you can go to development processes for products and services. For those who are new to innovation and they need to develop a culture in their company, they can go to that chapter. It's not a real long book, so they can also read through the whole thing and pick the nuggets out that are most applicable to their situation.
Perfect. So, Joe, now that we know a little bit of the purpose or the background behind the book, let's take a deep dive into the content itself. Will you take the next 5 to 8 minutes and really lay out what we can expect to get out of your book?
Sure. So, it's kind of a journey going through the book. And on chapter 1, which is discussing the family business difference, a little bit about the question that you asked earlier, what's the difference in this book? I talk about the family business difference and how to capitalize on it for innovation. So I'm detailing the innovation drivers, those factors that drive the family business and set it apart from other businesses. And these refer to things like the trait of having a long-term horizon compared to public companies, and also the fact that family businesses have been phenomenally successful at incremental innovation versus breakthrough type groundbreaking innovation that you might get from an Apple or a Pfizer pharmaceutical company. Most family businesses are really great at incremental innovation, and also laying out the differences how families use innovation in other areas of the business, like in their organization structure and how they are using succession in an innovative way, as well as training the upcoming generation to be more innovative. So that's chapter 1 about the family difference. In chapter 2, I talk about creating a culture of innovation and how one family in particular created a framework called structured chaos, which sounds like a paradox, but it's a way to have some stability and structure in the business while still being free-flowing and chaotic enough where you can have an innovative spirit, but how to balance those two paradoxical terms into a strong, meaningful business. And there we take some of the drivers that were discussed in chapter 1 and show how they can be used to create an innovative culture that can infuse the organization with a mindset that embraces change rather than fighting it. And then moving on to chapter 3, this is one of the longest chapters, and that's on product and service offerings, new ventures and startups. And that is what it takes to create a process for innovation. So I outline in this chapter 4 different processes that are used out there for product and service development. But the conclusion is that you don't have to strictly follow any of these one processes, but rather create a process tailored for your company and follow the process, have it become part of the culture so that it's not just done in a verbal context, which is known for most entrepreneurs who move quickly in their head on the process, but have it shared with others so you get more value and leverage off of others when you have, it doesn't have to be a dot the I's, cross the T type process, but it has to be structured enough so others can follow it and increase your odds of coming up with products and services that meet the market demand or a competitive opening or a latent demand that's out there. And then moving to chapter 4, this is an interesting one. It was hard to find information on, but it's about funding and measuring innovation. It's difficult to find examples of this because people don't always fund innovation in a clear way. Large companies have R&D departments. Entrepreneurs tend to, all their funding oftentimes goes to innovation. So how to capture different sources of funding in a family business are described. And then the types of metrics used to measure innovation, from a percent of sales coming from new products to how successful a succession has gone, is all described in chapter 4. And then in chapter 5, I dive into the next generation, so an upcoming generation in a family business. This could be siblings or cousins that are coming into the family business, and what it takes to re-innovate or re-energize or reinvent the family business. As many know today, the pace of change is so rapid that if people aren't looking ahead and trying to figure out what the next offering should be, and oftentimes that's a modification of an offering that the family business currently has, but if someone's not working hard at this, then they're going to slip behind. In today's world, the younger generation is so much more attuned to digital marketing and digital means that it's a great opportunity for them to dive into re-innovating the family business through some type of digital approach or format. And then the 6th and 7th chapters deal with governance and succession. 6 is talking about leadership succession, And that means passing the business from the current leader to other leaders, but also below the head of the company to key leaders. We want to make sure that if something happens, that succession can happen almost seamlessly. Or if they have a nice orderly succession, at least they get the bench strength there. So they have people ready for growth and for stepping in for the talent. And there's actually very creative, innovative ways to have a successful leadership transition. Then I also talk quite a bit about governance, and that is how to use advisory boards, fiduciary boards, and family councils to help with the relationships that support innovation in a family business. And then I tie this all together in a bow in the 8th chapter, talking about moving innovation forward and what it takes collectively to make sure that your family business is being innovative. And that means making change that is meaningful and adds value to the business. So that hopefully gives the entrepreneurs an idea of the content of the book, Wade.
It does, and you did an excellent job of giving us a review. And this next question I think is I think it's difficult, but I'm hoping that we can break it down even further into the fact that, if the reader can only take away one concept, principle, or action item out of your entire book, everything that you just went through with us over the last, 5 to 8 minutes, and what would you want that to be?
Yeah, that's interesting. And I was thinking of this question, and I think about it when I teach at Notre Dame. I teach family business course there. And when it comes to that kind of what's the key figure, even the students will say developing a culture of innovation is the most important thing in their family businesses. So I think the chapter on developing a culture of innovation, which is chapter 2, really helps get the family business in a position to positively impact change in a way that the business develops new products and service offerings, new ways to govern the business, new ways to fund and measure innovation, and really importantly for the upcoming generation to re-innovate. So creating the culture of innovation, I think, is the biggest takeaway from this book.
Mm. And do you have a favorite quote from your book?
Well, there was one very entrepreneurial family business leader, and he said, developing a culture of innovation is not only necessary, it is more exciting and fun than just sticking with the status quo. And we have a lot of families that resist change and want to keep with the status quo because they're afraid of change, and they've done really well with, say, one type of business model or product. But it really is more exciting and fun to start looking at other ways. And that doesn't mean you throw away the good foundation that was built, but we really have to innovate while also being stable with the core business.
Okay, very good. So, Joe, this wouldn't be a book-centric podcast if I didn't ask you for a book recommendation. And so the one that we're looking for is one book that you recommend to our listeners based on the way that it's impacted your life, maybe even created a paradigm shift for you.
Yeah, I would say I read this book called Younger Next Year. And it was by Chris Crowley and Henry Lodge. He's a doctor. So the doctor and an elderly gentleman, and it's all about how to maintain your health as you grow older so you don't just go down slowly in life, but you stay at a plateau. Excuse me. It really helped me get through writing this book and doing the many things I do, because you need so much energy to get things done and stay sharp mentally. So that one book, Younger Next Year, really did help me, and it's one of those books that I always go back to and refer to.
Excellent. We haven't had that one recommended yet, so I always appreciate new books. And Joe, before we depart, can you recommend the best way for our listeners to not only get more information on you, but also on your book, Innovation in the Family Business?
Sure. Our firm is called the Family Business Consulting Group, and our website is www.thefbcg, that's for familybusinessconsultinggroup.com. So thefbcg.com, you can get a listing of all the books that we have written on family businesses. You can get our background profiles of all of the advisors that we have in our group, and get emails, phone numbers, and all that information on each of the consultants.
Joe, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your book with us.
You're welcome, Wade. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening in today. If you'd like more information on Joe or his book, Innovation in the Family Business, check out the show notes at the elpodcast.com. And if you want a chance to win his book, become a VIP.
Looking for your next book idea? Head over to the elpodcast.com, where Wade shares his amazing resource, the top 10 business books recommended by over 500 entrepreneurs, with you for free. That's the elpodcast.com. Till the next time, keep it on the EL.